Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with some more updates coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys about major offensives that the Russians are preparing to launch very soon. Now, we've been discussing several areas of Ukraine where Russia is currently pressing right now. Just this morning, we talked to you guys about the city of Kurakhove, that there was a dam there that has been destroyed, apparently from the Russians. Could have been from the Ukrainian side, but we really don't know who exactly destroyed that dam yet. But in that video, we discussed how there has been heavy shelling around there in the city of Kurakhove, and that dam has been destroyed, causing major flooding in multiple villages and towns nearby. So I have an update on that today, as it looks like the fighting is very heavy in that area. This is in southeastern Ukraine in the Donetsk region, and I want to talk to you about the offensives that the Russians are launching in that area. And also, we're going to be discussing the Kursk region in this video as well. As I reported to you guys over the last few days that Volodymyr Zelensky has been saying that 50,000 Russian troops, along with North Koreans, are preparing a major offensive to attempt and push Ukraine out of the Kursk region. So I have some updates coming out from there that I want to share with you. And then also, we have been discussing over the last maybe week and a half to 2 weeks in the Zaporizhzhia region down in southern Ukraine, that Russia is preparing a major offensive there as well. So Ukraine could be in a major pinch here very soon and be spread very thin all across the front line. And this front line could definitely expand more heavily, as we could have major offensives launched in areas that typically don't have an offensive right now. So I've got maps and information to show you guys to kind of explain all this and give you a rough idea of how the battlefield is looking right now. So I have lots of information to share with you. So first, we're going to hop on over here to a mainstream news article. It's going to talk about Kurakhove, and we're going to start off with Kurakhove because I gave you guys an update on this city this morning. As we know, Kurakhove is right here on this map, and this is the Vovcha River. And this river, there's a dam over here on the western side of it that was destroyed near one of these small towns. And essentially, many of these towns over here are at risk of flooding now due to this dam being destroyed. So I want to give you guys some updates on the fighting that's happening over here. And we have a map that we'll go over in just a minute. I'll pull it up full screen for you guys after we go over this information, and I'll explain it to you. So it says here from Ukrainska Pravda, Deep State reports difficult situation around Kurakhove, which could become catastrophic. This just coming out today, Monday, November 11th, 2024. It says here Russian troops are intensifying their assaults on Ukrainian military positions in Kurakhove, Donetsk Oblast from the north, south, and east. And this is the source of Deep State Analytical Project. The enemy continues to carry out their large-scale strategy to encircle the city from the flanks. As previously stated, the Russians, mounting greater pressure on new directions, are attempting to reach the logistical paths of the defense forces, and this process is just gaining momentum. The Muscovites are currently attacking Ukrainian military positions from the north, south, and east. Their goal is to bypass the city from the flanks and control the N15 Zaporizhzhia Donetsk route, which is crucial for hampering any movement. The movement from the south is conducted on the Yasna, Polyana, Makizmivka, if I'm pronouncing that right, Trudov route, where despite persistent pressure and losses, the Russians are making progress. About 10 kilometers remain between the Ukrainian defenses and the highway, and the fortifications in this area left much to be desired. From the north, the Russians concentrated their efforts on the settlement of Santsivka, making any attempts to infiltrate the village, but the defense forces were able to kill the infantry. Analysts were also reported that the Russians pushed through to the eastern outskirts of the city of Kurakhove and also tried to build up forces and gain a foothold. At the same time, an unfavorable situation develops in the vicinity of the settlements of Antonivka, Katerinivka, and Yelizavetivka. That's a hard one to pronounce. Sorry, guys. We must reiterate that lies will ruin us all, yet even in attracting greater resources to the vicinity of Kurakhove, concerns remain about the reasoning behind the deployment. Taking into account the enemy's activity, it is only a matter of time before Kurakhove is lost. So it looks like Russia may be able to take this city at some point, and if we still do not take control of the problem with the flanks, it will quickly turn into another catastrophe, analysts write. It says background. Earlier on Monday, the press officer of the 46th Separate Airborne Brigade of the Airborne Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine working in the city, and the source of Ukrainska Pravda on the Kurakhove front, reported that Russian army came close to the Kurakhove to Kurakhove and even making occasional incursions with military equipment. So they are very close to Kurakhove right now, according to this information. However, the city is entirely under control by the Ukraine's defense forces, specifically the 46th Separate Airborne Brigade. So we're going to hop on over to X now for a moment. And I pulled up this picture full screen for you to kind of show you what's going on over here. So here's the city of Kurakhove right here, just south of the Vovcha River, where this reservoir was created. This dam was destroyed just today, and many regions over here could start to flood. This yellow line represents the N15 highway that Russia wants to try to get around the city. If you notice, they're flanking from the south, the east, and the north, okay, and trying to get around the city of Kurakhove to cut off this highway that leads all the way from Kurakhove on over to the Zaporizhzhia region. If you were to follow this line and keep going, it would head to the Zaporizhzhia region of Ukraine. Okay, so Russia's essentially trying to encircle this town, cut off this highway, so that way the Ukrainians here would be trapped, initially forcing them to have to retreat or maybe be trapped in this town and fight to the very end. But we do know that the Ukrainians are currently inside this city right now. So the situation over here is very dire, and this explains why this dam may have been targeted, as the Russians are getting very close to the city of Kurakhove. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you. That way you guys have an update on the way the battle situation looks over here near the city of Kurakhove, as we reported that this morning. Now we had this report coming out today as well from Bliskovka. Russia is preparing for assaults in the south of Zaporizhzhia region, said Vladislav Voloshin, spokesman for the Southern Defense Forces. He noted that the situation is escalating and these attacks could become a new direction of pressure on Ukrainian positions. The assaults may begin in the near future. We are not even talking about weeks. We expect it to happen any day, the spokesman said. Okay, so we have been hearing these kind of reports that Russia is preparing assaults in the Zaporizhzhia region of Ukraine, maybe in an attempt to capture the Zaporizhzhia region entirely, and also the city of Zaporizhzhia. So I'll show you guys a map here in just a little bit that kind of shows the entire battlefront of Ukraine, and we'll talk about the Zaporizhzhia region some more, but it looks likely that this offensive in the Zaporizhzhia region could be coming at any minute now, and it makes me wonder if it'll be launched at the same time as the Kursk offensive, and this will definitely spread Ukraine very thin, but we know that Ukraine has been beefing up their defenses in the Zaporizhzhia region, building trenches, all kinds of barricades and dragon's teeth to prevent a major offensive in that area. So it looks like we will see some sort of offensive from the Russians soon, and let's see if Ukraine can hold out. Okay, also from Bliskovka, the occupiers are preparing to blow up the dam in Vasilivka. In Vasilivka, Zaporizhzhia region, Russian troops may blow up the dam, but traditionally accuse the Ukrainian military of preparing a terrorist attack. Okay, so looks like we could be seeing another dam, now this time in the Zaporizhzhia region, which is just to the west of the Donetsk region, and we could potentially have another dam being destroyed. Now, is this indicative that maybe this is Russia that's destroying these dams? I mean, it's very possible, but who knows? Maybe this could be Ukraine also trying to blow these dams and flood a lot of areas so that way Russian troops cannot come in. It's really hard to tell what is happening over here. It's very possible it could be either side, but there is multiple sources reporting and mainstream news saying that this is Russia doing so, okay? So now I want to move on to this report. We're just going to go over a couple paragraphs here regarding the Kursk offensive. And we know that the Russians are massing many troops over here, upwards of 50,000, preparing to attack the Ukrainians in that area and push them out. So this is on the hill. Russia amassing tens of thousands of troops for Kursk offensive, Ukraine military chief says. This just came out today, November 11th, 2024. Now, we did talk about this a little bit in our update video this morning, but I just want to briefly show you this here real quick. Russia's prepared tens of thousands of troops for an offensive to retake the Russian region of Kursk, which Ukraine has held for months, according to Kiev's commander-in-chief, Colonel General Oleksandr Syrsky. Syrsky said the threat of the Russian troops cannot be underestimated, warning they were prepared to mount an attack on Kursk. Now, following the order of their military leadership, they are trying to dislodge our troops and advance deep into the territory we control, Syrsky wrote in a post on Telegram, adding that Ukrainian forces were ready to deter any advance. So it looks like this is coming over here, as well as tens of thousands of Russian troops along with North Koreans are preparing a major offensive in the Kursk region. And imagine if the Ukrainians are able to be pushed out of the Kursk region. Now we could have a new front opening up into Ukraine in the Sumy region, which just borders Kursk. Okay, so this could get very bad for Ukraine. We'll see if Ukraine is going to be able to thwart this major attack that looks like is coming any day now. And I would assume that these attacks are going to pick up as we get closer to the election or the inauguration of Donald Trump in the United States on January 20th. So we have another report here now. Take a look at this from Max 24. Putin ordered Kursk region back under control by January 20th, Trump's inauguration day. According to The Telegraph, Kremlin also seeks to use its biggest counteroffensive in the Kursk region in order to gain momentum and advance into the Sumy region of Ukraine, just like I talked to you guys about. Okay, so imagine if Ukraine is right here, the blue area is what they currently control. They did control all this red at some point too, or a large majority of it, but just about close to 2 months ago, or a month ago, excuse me, we had a major offensive at the beginning of October that Russia launched and started to take over a mass amount of territory that Ukraine was currently holding in the Kursk region. Now it looks like they are going to try to finish off Ukraine, and imagine if they're able to do so, they would then push into the Sumy Oblast, creating another front for Ukraine. Not that they're already fighting a front over there right now, but this will now be opened up into Ukrainian territory in Russia's favor, okay? So now one last thing I pulled up here for you guys. This is a really old map, but this map will do just enough justice to kind of show you what's going on down here and the way the front line could look very soon if things get out of control over here for Ukraine. So we already know on the eastern side of Ukraine and the Donetsk Oblast, also up here, in the Kharkiv region, things are very hot up here near Kupiansk. We've been hearing about that. Over here on the Donetsk region near Pokrovsk, the Russians are getting very close to Pokrovsk right now. They're not too far away. They've taken over more territory than what's being shown right here, but these lines are not too far off from where Russia's currently at. And then down here in the Zaporizhzhia region is where we are hearing that Russia could advance and move forward, okay? So this entire Zaporizhzhia region right here, the upper northern side of Zaporizhzhia region, is what Russia may try to take over, okay? So they may push from this line all the way north. It might be kind of hard for you guys to see, but there's kind of a circular black line here just that runs above the city of Zaporizhzhia. This is where that offensive is potentially going to take place, okay? So Ukraine is going to be attacked from multiple regions at the same time, as we really have not seen many offensives down here in the south too much, okay? Most of Russia's offensives are definitely on the east, in the Kharkiv region and Donetsk. And then now imagine if this operation up in the Kursk region over here is successful for Russia to push Ukraine back into the Sumy region. Now we're going to have another front opening up over here for Ukraine, okay? And Ukraine could be in a bad situation over there in Sumy. So this is what I wanted to show you guys, is to kind of give you an idea of how Ukraine is going to be in a major pinch, because most of their fighting has primarily been on the east, okay? So imagine if it gets stretched all the way down here to Zaporizhzhia and over here in the Sumy region. This could be really bad for them. Could the front line start to collapse? I mean, that is a huge front line to have to defend, especially for Ukraine, who is heavily outnumbered by the Russians. Yes, the Russians are taking heavy losses, but it doesn't seem to be affecting them a whole lot, as we are still continuing to see Russia making gains, especially on the eastern side of Ukraine, and pushing towards even major cities like Kurakhove, okay? So just wanted to give you some updates coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine and let you know about these major offensives that are coming right around the corner. Expect them to be launched within days or weeks leading up to the inauguration of Donald Trump. And that gives Russia approximately about 2 months or so, 2 to 3 months, for them to complete these goals and push as far as they can into Ukraine and also retake the Kursk region of Russia. So let me know what your thoughts and opinions are about all this information down below. But that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.